So what are you saying, people? Man, them are back. Episode 2 of the panel. You man ready for this thing, yeah?
Come on.
Yeah?
Let's go.
Man ready, yeah?
Okay, but you're not.
Kev, ready, yeah? Ready? Kurt's ready for this thing.
Still
Dave, ready?
I'm ready.
Right. All right, people. Juicy topic. So, do social workers and a youth offending service, do they work together to impact positively with children, young people, and families?
It's a long question, you know.
Yeah, very long. I made it wide. I made it wide here, but that's it. So do social workers and youth offending, do you work together positively to work with children, young people, and families? Or do we have positive effect, innit? So any man jump in. Any man just jump in, innit?
Wait, I thought introduction, bro.
Huh?
Introduction.
Oh yeah. All right. People, let me run it back. Yeah. All right.
Are we not special?
All right, let me run it back. All right, I'll run it back, innit? All right, I'll run it back. It's intro. We'll start from left.
Just a bunch of man them I found.
Yeah. Let's run it. Let's run it.
randoms, innit?
All right, let's run it back.
Yeah, I'm Curtis. I'm a social worker and I've worked in YOS and so forth.
Hi there, guys. Nathan, and I am currently a business studies teacher.
I'm Robert. I'm a mentor, behaviour consultant, counsellor, etc.
Nana, social worker, team manager, guest lecturer, pet educator. You lot all know already, man.
My name's Sam. I oversee the education department within a youth offending service.
Kev.
My name's Kevin. I'm a professional youth offending team case manager with over 17 years of experience.
Oof.
Jeez.
Right. So back on this thing. So, social work, youth offending service. Do we work well to help children, young people, and families? Any man jump in.
So mine's going to be quick because I don't know too much about this. But what I would say is I think social workers get a bad rap, and you only really hear about social workers when there are examples of, major neglect. And that's when the media and then the narrative gets fed that, social workers are not doing well. They miss out on major things, etc., etc. So in terms of people like myself, there are a lot of us that are quite ignorant because that's all we hear. We never hear of the positive case studies. All we ever hear are the negative case studies.
Can I get in, bro? When you say ignorance, is it professionals? Is it the community?
Is it the media?
Or is it just uneducated people that just prefer to just give them a bad rep?
I mean, to use the word uneducated people, I think it could be harsh, but I think we all come under that. Uneducated in the sense that we have not taken our time to really look into the intricacies of social work. So we're just being fed what's being told to us. So yeah, it's definitely the media narrative, but equally it's the laziness from us, the common man, that's not really doing the due diligence. It's just letting whoever the beat anyway.
The common narrative.
The common narrative,
I was gonna start naming corporations, but nah,
Kev.
not.
Kev, man's coming straight to you, bro. 17 years experience, man.
Yeah, I mean, generally, I think we do work well. I think in terms of what we do well or what we do to kind of like help create positive outcomes is you've got risk management panels, safeguarding meetings, multi-agency meetings, what else? Home visits. So things of that nature, you basically addressing or trying to identify what all the risks are and then trying to have healthy discourse about what can be done to address those risks and needs. So I think in that sense, there's a lot of positive work going on between social workers and your officers, or just like within each realm as a separate entity.
Rob?
All right. Okay. I'm gonna just keep it real. Okay. Yeah. All right. As in any profession, there's always good practice and bad practice. I do believe right now things are a bit stale. I'm just keeping it real.
From whose side, bro?
All right. So the world is changing. Yeah. In the last 3 years, it's been a I suppose, in human history, it's been a difficult time for, most of humankind, with mental health, cost of living, things are bad, poverty, money, etc., etc. So I just find that with social care and with YOS, there's a particular requirement that they have to, I suppose, attire to, and a procedure that they have to do by. Okay, this is the young person. So, example, Timmy's coming out of prison. Timmy's on remand. Timmy goes to court. Timmy gets out on bail. Timmy goes home. Mum, shut up. Dad, don't tell me anything. Already, the rapport with mum and dad is on a mad thing already, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. You go to school. Yeah, man. Then, hey, when we linking, you understand? So
Yeah.
already, the narrative and the positives, I suppose, element to the direction of Timmy is a little bit all over the place in Timmy's household. In terms of the social care and the YOS impact, okay, right, yeah. I just feel at times, even though there are great things that are put in place, I also feel that it's a little bit stale.
Yeah.
I find the reoffending, they're just always reoffending.
Yeah.
Reoffending and they're reoffending, but hang on, why are they reoffending?
Yeah.
What are we not doing? What are we not doing right? Yeah. Because they keep reoffending. So
Yeah.
I just feel to a degree it's a little bit stale. And that's no offense or me putting down anybody, but I just feel the system needs to be changed up and we've got to start thinking outside the box a little bit more.
Curse?
I have to let the steam out, man.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
take it personal,
Yeah.
You know what? I think if a child is being exploited, he's 12, 13, 14. You saw it, Top Boy, yeah?
Yeah.
Top Boy shows it accurately.
Yeah.
What the system is, the exploitation structure is from the very top. We know what it is now, right? You cannot stop that. Yeah? So no matter how many times I meet with Kevin, no matter what agencies we pull in, we cannot stop that.
Yeah.
That has to run its course. That young person has to be exploited, go to jail, end up in a yacht. I've worked with young people who they've been arrested, they've been to court 3-4 times
Yeah.
in a week.
Yeah.
Do you understand? They're not stopping because they're being made and forced to do what they're doing.
That's right.
The public is going to say, what's the social worker doing?
Yeah, thank you.
The public's going to look at Kevin and say, Kevin, what are you doing for this kid? Kevin's got a whole array of services. The one thing I know that works, if we can pull it off, is relationships.
Right, absolutely.
So for me now, Kevin hasn't got enough money in the system to do his job properly. He's got assessments to do. He's got to go and do his home visits. He's got to see these things through. He's got to also go court.
Yeah.
Kevin can't do the job as much as he wants to.
Yeah.
And the one reason why social work and yacht work struggle to support is because, in my opinion, we need tenfold youth workers,
That's
family
right.
support workers to go in and do the groundwork.
That's right.
But like we said before, last thing I want to say very, very quickly, the money goes where the values are.
Yeah. And I think you're absolutely right, because I think when you look at young people and you look at social care and you look at youth offending service, I'm very much aware that we are very, very limited. I think social workers and youth offending services, they really have got their work cut out for them. Because as you said, the strength of our input, and it's sad to say, is weaker than the pools of the streets and the groomers, which is facts. That's something that's real that we got to be open about. You know, the pull of the streets, the pull of the money, and the grooming is very, very, very strong. There are brilliant services out there that, as you said, Curtis, make referrals to. There's St. Giles, there's Air Network, there's Bear. But we're very much limited. Now, the relationship is very, very key. And I'm just going to give an example because there was a young person I worked with who was involved in county lines. Man was up in Scotland. I went to go and see him and bring him back down. And the one thing he said to me is that, you know what, Nana, you came and saw me after hours, yeah? My previous social worker didn't do that, but you did. That's what's keeping me in my placement. So it's relationships. But as you said, if a yacht worker's got X amount of cases or young people and a social worker has, the time, things are going to be missed.
How many young people could you do that for?
Exactly.
And do you know, and thing is, I'm struggling to answer that question because it's like, if I've got a small number of young people, I could do that work effectively, do the direct work, you know, build the relationships. And even when I had a big caseload, yes, there were times where I maybe had to work longer hours or do more to build a relationship with that young person. But was I as consistent? Because remember, I've got 30 other young people that I've got to work with as well.
Yeah.
It's about time. It is.
I actually, and I don't enjoy saying this, what I'm about to say right now. I actually don't really enjoy saying it because I know social workers do a tremendous job. I work with some fantastic social workers. They are absolutely fantastic. They think outside the box. They're relatable, whatever, whatnot. But this is, I suppose, no offense, I just find in local authority now, I find that they give social workers too much caseloads, and with too much caseloads, you can't perform at the level and pay attention to all them caseloads that they should be giving. So what tends to happen? You're already under pressure. You're already under pressure, right? Yeah, and there's more pressure, and I just find there needs to be a bit of a change or a strategy or a cut off where, do you know what? This is the limit that you guys are going to get to perform at high level, and I find that.
But let me say, what does that mean when we get too much? Like in real terms.
Okay, all right.
There's 1,000 cases and 50 workers. What do you do?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Oh, you're going to say.
You go, Sam.
Sorry.
So I got many things that I've been chomping at a bit to say, but with regards to that specific thing, I think so. There's always this argument: there isn't enough money. That's always the argument.
There's money. Trust.
Come on.
I know.
Come on, man. Come on. Look how many things they found money for during COVID when there was no money. They found bare cash. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, hold tight.
Under the couch.
Yeah. It's 500K.
Look.
Really need to get themselves clean.
Yeah.
So that's always the argument. There isn't money, and you lot know as well as I do. They've been cutting services for years. They've been making them smaller. Like even with the YOS, when I started working in YOS, they had an admin person. So workers were free to do
their thing.
Work.
Yeah.
You get me? And I know it's the same for social care.
Yeah.
You get me? Workers could work they could do more work, I would say, because it still wasn't easy. But what they did is they took that away because there wasn't money. You get me? There wasn't money for an admin person. So now you're having to do what the admin person was doing as well as deal with your clients. And remember, dealing with clients, say in Shropshire or one of the shires, is not the same as dealing with them in inner city London.
Yeah, it's true.
Not the same thing.
Come
You
on.
get me? Like, so if they've got the funding, and even if you've got the same funding,
True.
you're not dealing with the same problems.
You're not.
You
No.
get what
No,
I'm
it's
saying?
true. It's
But
true.
what I find is a lot of these people are even getting more funding. You
Yeah.
get me? For kids who don't even need that much help.
Yeah.
You get me? They're setting fires in barns, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
So
Am I lying? Tell me
you're
I'm lying.
right.
it's
No,
true.
you're right.
These are facts. Austin, bro. That's like
No, it's true.
just bored youths in a field.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true.
It's true. It's true.
It's true.
It's true. So would you say that the funding is a massive part in youth offending and maybe social care not actually helping the families and the young people to the level that it should be?
Without a doubt. Bro,
Yeah.
everything is run by money. Everything
Yeah.
is money. Everything.
Money talks.
Everything is money.
So are we saying it's the business?
No, but
yeah.
unfortunately, Rob.
No, are we saying
No,
that?
but Rob, unfortunately, it's becoming that way. Let's
100%.
put on the table.
100%.
It's becoming a bit of a business.
100%.
You know, young people committing crime. It's becoming a business, isn't it? Young people going to the it's becoming. Curtis said it earlier. The relationship aspect is going. It's dwindling. Do you know what I'm saying to you? It is becoming like a business because how is it you've got young people being exploited and there's no money to try and prevent what's going on? Like when you think about it, it's mad.
But then how much money did they burn on was it the PP team that
9 billion.
9 billion.
Yeah. So you got 9 billion.
No. 9 billion was wasted. That's not the total bill.
Yeah. So where does that money
there's
come
9
from?
billion for some shit you don't need, but there's no money for kids who are in desperate need and with complex
And
issues.
bruv, this is the point. So,
come on.
bruv, this is the point. So it's whether these people, because it's like we're all here, we're all on the front line here, and it's like you're working with families who feel that their social worker ain't doing enough, or their YOS worker ain't doing enough. But it's like you're trying to have to explain to them that actually,
because they don't see the bigger picture.
it's like you're going to war, but you're going in with no shield.
Yeah,
all you
yeah.
All you got is your little bit of chainmail here and there, and your sword here, and that's it. That's all you're dealing with. But you have to speak to families that actually, I'm not equipped. I haven't got what I need to help. And that's the biggest thing.
Remember, one thing I remember is the Victoria Climbier thing, because that made the headline.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Now,
that was a mad thing.
I know that the social worker lost her job. I don't know what happened after that. but
She
I know
did.
the-
No, yeah.
I know the social worker lost her job.
And she went to depression.
And she went to
And she
depression.
went into depression, unsurprisingly. Now, I know that in that case, the police was involved. You know, there was different local authorities involved.
Because she moved around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was different local authorities. There was the police. There was social care. There was
Health.
The NHS was involved. There was bare services,
CAMS, yeah.
but ultimately it was
as well.
doctors.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
NHS,
yeah.
So ultimately, all that they cared about was how it played out to the public, and someone had to be the foreperson. And who did they pick? The person who works in the front line. That's who they picked.
Yeah.
Remember, the head of that service was chilling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her boss, the person who ultimately has the final say, was chilling. She was good.
Yeah.
And then the head of the council was chilling, because she has the final say.
Yeah.
But the person who's in the front line dealing with all the shit that gets thrown at her, she's the person, and it was a black woman. I remember that as well.
Yeah.
She lost her job. Like,
Why are social workers and YOS workers, but I think probably more social workers, why do they get the bad, negative fronts of everything? Why? What is it? Like, why are they the easy one to say, I was a social worker?
But Nathan said it.
think- I think
Nathan said it earlier.
Yeah.
He said it earlier about the fact that there's a lot of, with respect in it, I'm saying openly,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people who are not educated on the role that we do. A lot of people don't know are not aware of our processes, our policy and procedures and caseloads. And bruv, let me land on this, yeah?
Yeah.
People only look at, I said it before, alphabet system, Z. Okay, the child's died, child's in care. No one's looked at point A. It's like, get on the train, yeah? You start Jubilee Line, you start at Stanmore, you end at Stratford. Everybody knows you have to go from Stanmore to Kingsbury to Wembley to you can chop and change your routes. But what I'm trying to say is, nobody takes context of what we do. And I think that's the biggest problem. So when things go left, all right, cool, social case, it's all you lot. But did you ask the question, all right, as a social worker, what did you try and do? I can tell you what I tried to do, what I tried to do to prevent things from happening. If I don't do my job and there's things that I miss and I'm slack, come at me and give me fire. But most social workers will try their best. But the realistic thing is that we can't prevent things from happening. We ain't there 24/7.
you can't do magic, bro.
Curtis said it, exploitation. I can't stop young people from being involved in county line. It don't matter how many times Curtis will go or I will go. If I go after hours and say, listen, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. You can't. The only thing I can try and do is do my best to show that, you know what, I care, I'm trying, I want to stop it from happening. That's the best that we can do.
I want to ask Nathan something, because me and you had a conversation.
Yeah.
The other day. Sorry, Ken, 1 second, my brother. So me and I were saying, we was talking about that people or the community or the general public, they don't always know the actual role of a social worker. And we keep seeing on social media, that the children have been taken away by
Social care.
social care, and automatically they think, oh my gosh, it's a social worker. But as Nana rightly said, there's a process. Do you think it should be compulsory now, or there should be with the local authority that maybe social workers, in connection with the local authority, actually be part of parent evenings, or maybe there should be like talks within the schools where they have a better. No, we'll talk. No. This is all right? No, but I'm asking from a teacher point of view. Would it help? Because you've got to remember, right? It's the social workers and social care that are actually working with the schools, and it's the, it just helps education and the schools and the household have an understanding. Do you understand? If Mavis, who's from, I don't know, from Yard, right, yeah, and she's...
These names.
right, yeah, no. Like,
Auntie Mavis.
If Mavis or Marlon, right, yeah, and Marlon's from Yard, he's like, what? You're a social worker, yeah. Where's Marlon? Right, yeah? So he's got no understanding of what, he's just thinking, hey, that's social worker. Come on, yeah? You know where I'm coming from now?
Yeah.
So, but if, let's say Nana's come to the school now, and Nana just says, well, listen, my name's Nana, a little bit back his background, whatever, whatnot. And he said, yeah, this is actually my job role. And then he actually explains A, B, C, D. Then Mavis is like, no, all right, man. Yeah, you know where I'm coming from. So having that knowledge, would that help?
Yeah, yes and no. So one thing with teaching, and I know teachers will be able to identify with this, is that we have a lot of meetings, we have a lot of inset days, And if you was to ask the teachers what they learned from those inset days, from those workshops, they would struggle at the students. So say, for example, we've got something that we do at the end of a lesson, retrieval practice. What have you learned in the lesson? If you was to do that to teachers, for the most part, they wouldn't be able to remember anything. And the reason for that is they're demotivated, they're overworked, they feel stressed. And so from a utopian's perspective, yes, I'm all for it. But I just think a lot of teachers, if a social worker was to come in, for them it would be just another meeting,
Yeah.
something else to add on to.
And he's right.
And that's the major problem. The major problem is we've got teachers who feel underpaid but overworked, but have an unconscious bias towards other entities like social workers. So there is like it's almost like Bloods and Crips between social workers and teachers.
It's true.
Honestly, it's almost like Bloods and Crips.
No, but that's real talk though. That's real talk though. Yeah.
It's real because I remember saying Nana the other day, right? Yeah, if you're a teacher, right? Yeah, then your PGC, you've got your qualification, right? Yeah, so you're a teacher. You know you're with other teachers because we studied the same thing, and you know if you're a social worker now, you know you guys have studied the same qualification, you know whatever whatnot. So you're always gonna, I suppose, take your side.
Yeah, you will. Yeah,
towards
it's
your
true.
It's like race.
Yeah.
It's like you tend to, you can relate to and lean and have a more natural affinity with people who are like you for various reasons. That's life. That's the normal. That's what being a human is.
And there's sometimes as well, there's almost like this. You know, sometimes in local authorities, like you may go on the third floor, that could be youth offender service, and then on the fifth floor, it could be yours, whatever, whatnot. And sometimes there seems to be this competition thing. Right, this is what we're doing. Brother, what are you guys doing? Do you know what I mean?
I've sat in meetings. I've literally sat in meetings where, because obviously I work in Yost now, and I've sat in meetings, and I've been lucky enough that I worked in. I say lucky. I don't know if that's the right word. I worked in social care as well. So I've literally sat in meetings where people are just bad mouthing the social workers, innit? Like, oh my God, I don't know what they're doing, blah, blah. And the thing is, I suspect similar things happen in social care. I suspect, right? And that's the funny thing, like, and it goes back, it's similar to what I was saying about the divide and conquer thing. It's like, you lot are beef with each other when the problem, and I'll say it again, is the system.
Yeah.
You get me? The problem isn't the social worker or the YOS worker or the teacher or any frontline. It's not the frontline people that are the issue. The problem is how it's set up, how it's structured. You lot overworked, and everyone's beefing with each other. So it's the people.
It's true.
It's always, it's like when you put, I said to someone the other day, I think it was a young person I was talking to, I was just deep in with him, just having a conversation. I was like, imagine if, you have, I said, okay, so think about this. There's people in Eastern Europe who hate black people, right? And then a lot of them come over here as immigrants. And where do they put them? They put them in communities where there's lots of black people. What's going to happen?
Yeah.
It's true.
Is that again? Is that coincidence?
No, it's true.
Like, call me crazy.
It's true. It's true.
But sorry, Kevin, what you saying?
Oh my gosh, what was I gonna say? So
Man, write a book in
I'm just gonna bring it back to this idea about social workers getting negative press, and the conclusion that I've come to is that a lot of the time social workers are spoken badly about by the clients is due to them having a poor rapport or a poor relationship with the client, or the client not trusting them for whatever reason. And I think a lot of that comes from different things. In particular, sometimes when a social worker starts working with a family, they don't do enough to kind of like promote the service and provide like 100% customer service. Like, okay, I know you've got your reservations about what it is that we do over here, but let me explain to you.
Right.
In fact, any questions that you have, put them forward and I'll answer them all. So that, if there's any issue, we can iron them out together.
Communication.
Do you understand? And I feel like because certain professionals are stressed out and they're anxious or whatever else is going on, they're not able to give that level of customer service sometimes. Or maybe it's, maybe they're not stressed, it's just not on their radar.
Yeah. I want to bring Curtis.
I was just gonna say one other thing as well.
Go for it.
The last thing I was gonna say is this is the biggest thing, the biggest issue. Like sometimes social workers, they go in and they don't listen. Like the client will tell them everything that's an issue, And it's just like they're not listening. They've gone in there like with a preconceived notion of what the issue is or what it is that they want to do, and they just go ahead and do it. And and then the client's just looking at them like, well, I sat down with you for an hour and I told you blah 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 blah. You just basically ignored me, and you went and you went and done what you wanted to do, and you didn't even like explain to me like, this is what I'm going to do. How do you feel about it? It's like they have to work together. The client has to work with the professional. Like it's not
you're right.
They in training they tell you that it's not a dictatorship.
Yeah.
They say it's collaborative.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think a lot of the time there's not that not even a lot of the time in certain situations the collaboration is missing, and that's what causes the resentment and the disdain towards social workers.
I'm gonna jump on that in a bit. I want to bring in Curtis then Nathan. Curtis.
Do you know, a couple of things. I think it was David Cameron when the young girl died, Columbia.
Yeah.
There was another child as well, Damilola.
Yeah.
And what the politicians have done is they have deliberately used the media to direct the anger.
That's right.
And there's a price you pay for that. Of course. Because now nobody wants to talk to us.
Yeah.
Yeah? They said it, and you can see that's when Social Work England was formed,
Yeah.
taken from HCPC. And it was to create more oversight. Basically, I think that they basically designed a system so that our heads will be easily on the block
Yeah.
when things go wrong.
Which is true.
I feel like that. I shouldn't, even if it's not true, I feel like that.
I'm glad you said that because I feel like that as well.
Right? The system is destructive. So anyway, I'm going to repeat myself. So social workers are always on their back foot. Yacht workers can be on their back foot as well. Maybe a little less so, but they generally are. What I found though is my strong suit, like social work is about admin, and it's about building relationships, and it's about analysis. And we've got, to be fair, we've got a level of training that allows us to look at something broadly and draw an analysis. That's a lot of our training. So my strong suit is particularly about building relationships. I work in an area that is predominantly white. It's about 98.9% white. About 99% white, yeah. And in fact, I've only got one mixed family out of all my caseload. Everyone's white.
But that depends, I suppose, on the area that maybe that you're just working.
Yeah.
Depending on the borough, I suppose.
Yeah, but the class of people that I tend to work with, a lot of them they don't want to know. So it's that first phone call. Look, I'm here to help, and I tell you, it's like what Kevin said. I put that work in because I can't do an assessment if I don't work with the family, and if the family resists, I'm gonna have to escalate it.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna hate me even more. So you're right. Not enough social workers know how to put that work in to say, hey, listen, child protection is not a bad thing, you know. Child in need is not a bad thing. Target youth support, it's not bad. I'm going to tell you what you should do with it.
Yeah.
You need to use that system to get what you can from it. Now, I even said to parents, yacht is a good thing. They're like, I've got people arguing on the table saying, we don't want to criminalize them. I'm like, do it before they're 18.
Yeah.
Get them in. Mum, call the police on your kid and get him arrested if he's smashing up the house and hurting you. Yacht is a good thing. We need people to understand that the social care, use it for what it's there for.
Yeah.
It's not about us trying to take kids. Stop saying that, people. Media, we need the government, because it's a government agency now.
Yeah.
You tell the people we don't take kids away.
Thank you.
You understand? Let me shut up.
I'm gonna say something, right? Yeah, which is, it's not even controversial, right? Yeah, but
Got me ranting now.
Mr. Khan, yeah, Mr. Khan,
Yeah.
yeah, Mr. Khan.
No, you're Richard.
Do we know about Mr. Khan? Do we know?
Mr. Sadiq.
Yeah.
Yeah. We know about him. Yeah,
yeah,
we do.
right.
Yeah.
Now, I do believe that his team, he's the one we need to sort of like really talk to.
Yes.
I'm being honest with you, bro.
Yeah.
No, because I started to like really calculate this the other day. You know, we were talking about, you know, contacting MPs. You know, Nana's got this petition, and I just thought, no, do you know, we're doing this whole wrong, you know, because you know me, I'm always about strategizing and rethinking, right? Yeah. Sadiq Khan, bro, we have to talk to, bro. First of all, that's the way to get to all these MPs as well.
Yeah.
Because you see Sadiq Khan, right? Yeah. He's the one who's directly, you know, always saying that he's going to put money. Like, you remember a couple of years ago, he said he's going to put £1 million into mentoring.
Yeah. I remember. Yeah.
Like,
£1 million quid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
£1 million quid.
Do you know what I mean?
Right, it's like that's a lot. It's like
Man just plucked that number out there nowhere, innit? Yeah. Said it so freely.
right. But then, as we know, like 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, you know, knife crime and you know, the population of knife crime was intense, wasn't it? Right? Yeah. But I just feel like his team they need to talk to a man like us, right? Yeah,
They do.
Now, one thing I do know, if you've got something to talk about or worth talking about, yeah, or you can make a difference, he will listen, right? Yeah, but sometimes he won't listen. So I don't know whether like we go to their man or not, but I know his team are the team that we need to go to, right? Yeah, because it's almost like we're dealing with young people, right? Yeah, and it's about being heard. But at the same time as well, can you guys, as professionally, do you have faith in the government? Do you have faith in Sadiq Khan and his team?
I'm
Could
going
you
to be
see real
honest
change?
here. We haven't gone down that route, but right now, this government, how they run it, I ain't got no faith in them.
Yeah.
To be honest with you,
So then what do we do?
Because, but I'm saying I want to go down that route anyway. Whether they're going to listen to it, I'm not too sure because, like what Curtis said, yeah, is, and we're saying this on this podcast, this panel thing. What a lot of people need to remember that it's not easy doing the jobs that we do. It's not easy being a mentor or a teacher, but it's not easy being a social worker. Me and Curtis found social workers who qualified. Nobody went into this job to go and say, we're not going to take people's children away. That's not why we went into this job. Because trust me, if that was the case, listen, I wouldn't have qualified. And I still wouldn't be in this job for as long as I needed to be. Despite all the criticism, we're still here. We're still doing this job. Do you know what I'm trying to say to you? So people need to really understand it. But Curtis, you crystallize it very well. Social workers, and Kevin said as well, what we need to be doing, and that's my approach, we need to be explaining, we've got to really dial it down to families in terms of what our role is, what we can and cannot do. And I think Kevin's right. It's like customer service. Not all social workers do that. So if there's already a preconceived idea about us when it comes to working with families and they're already like, they can come take my children away, it's down to that specific social worker to let that family know, this is the work that I'm going to be doing. This is the referrals I'm going to be doing. I always say that to families. I've always said to families that this is our CP, SIN, this is the court arena. We're here. Let's keep it away from here. But not all social workers articulate it in a way that the families are going to feel that actually you're working in collaboration with me. And I think that's also a problem. And there's some social workers, I'll be real, who don't care. Bro, let me land this here because I'm saying it. I'm a social worker. Curtis is here. There's some social workers who just don't care, who are in a job and they don't care. They don't communicate. And a job is what we do. You can't not have empathy. Like if a family, when I've gone to see families, you think I don't understand why they don't want me involved. I say to families, listen, you know what? I'm a social worker. I know why you wouldn't want me involved. I get that. But I've got this referral. I want to work with you. Give me context. But context is what's needed. The public need to understand context. That we don't just go and take children away. They need to be educated for that. But we also need to give them context in terms of what we do, what we can and cannot do.
Yeah. But you know what though? So, all right. All right. Race and age. Yeah. And this is me not being biased. I'm not being sexist. I'm not discriminating. Yeah. Does race and age play a part in our specific job roles with engaging? Because another thing as well, culturally as well, this is also, so I work with a lot of Eritrean, Somalian, Bangladesh boys. I'm a black man, yeah? But it's important that I, sort of like, okay, what is the Bengali community about, or the Asian community about, what's their upbringing, what is
social graces.
This is what I was talking about.
Social graces.
This is what I was going to say.
You got to sort of like prepare for like what you're dealing with. I always say like prepare with what you're dealing with. If you don't prepare what you're dealing with, you're going in blind.
Yeah, like
you're going in blind. So you've got to know to a degree. And I just feel sometimes, and this is me not having or not, maybe just it doesn't matter whether you're social care, you're teaching, whatever, whatnot. You got to know what you're doing in it, right? Yeah. You got to sort of like really just tap into talking to mum, or Muslims. So example, so I've worked with a lot of Muslim boys. I've learned to be educated about the Muslim community now. I know quite a lot about it. So I actually done on-the-job training. My job didn't teach me that. They never gave me the tools for that. I taught myself.
Yeah.
By working with the young people or by talking to the mums or the families and everything.
This is big.
So I do feel like culture, race, age is very, very important in terms of getting through. Because the question is YOS and social care getting through? And I do think race and culture is a massive, massive part.
It is.
In terms of getting through.
Yeah.
You have to, you're going to be uncomfortable, aren't you? Look, we're from African, Caribbean culture, right? But it's about learning new languages and how they, You know,
Do you know what? I feel like that could be applied across. I feel like that could be applied across every service, whether it's teaching,
yeah.
social care,
Health.
I think that, and it goes back to what I was saying about we can use race and culture interchangeably, but it goes back to what I was saying in the previous thing about you have to understand the client group in it, right? You're speaking to someone and you know nothing about them, it makes no sense to me. It's because even if if you meet a girl and you want to marry her, you want to know who she is, what she's about, what
culture,
her history is, her
family, yeah.
culture. You get me? And I don't know if that's the best analogy, but you understand something about the person to know if they're a good fit for you. I mean, because it's such an important decision. And I think, with regards to the decisions we make with regard I need to wrap up. Yeah. With regards to stuff about social care, I feel like, if they're not doing that, but then the flip side to the coin is, and I'll just say this point quickly, the flip side to the coin is, it goes back to what we're saying about not having enough time, the pressures. There's a lot of pressure on social workers in particular, and YOS workers and so on, and just frontline workers in general, that maybe perhaps doesn't afford them the time to be able to go in as much as they would like to. I don't know. Just
want to add on to what Kevin said earlier about customer service. So it's really about really going into the intricacies of the culture. And I really liked what Robert said. It's about really understanding how even the parents want to be addressed. So even little things like hi auntie, hi uncle, and not calling them by their first name. It's even, I always tell my students this at the start of every year. Listen, most of you lot have got ethnic minority names. I've got an easy name. Do not ever let me say your name wrong. You correct me.
100%.
Do not go into society
Come on.
and allow people to say your name wrong. And I don't care how many times I'm going to say it wrong. Eventually, I'm going to say it right. And it's just really those, just really letting that family understand that you're really trying to get to know them. Because these are barriers that need to be broken. And sometimes, even when I hear other colleagues, they're talking to, say, West African parents, and it's just they're calling them by their first name, just like this, just calling them by their first name. Listen, after the second or third conversation, it's good afternoon, uncle. Good afternoon, auntie. Do you understand? And it's those little things that help me build that relationship. And then they start telling me little things, little gems that's happening in the house. So I think a lot of social workers, they do need to see it as actually this is customer service.
Yeah.
And I need to best know my client.
I agree.
Yeah.
And as someone of West African descent as well, I know how much they would appreciate that.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
that for facts. You get me?
Kev?
I just want to go back to what Robert raised in terms of does age and race play a role. I just wanted to kind of like mention the fact that when you're a social worker and when you're a yacht officer, when we do our assessments, we do this thing where we focus on social graces and diversity. So I mean, I guess I touched on it again with cultural sensitivity. We do touch on those things in our assessments. So we talk about the sex of the child, what else? Whether they're disabled, whether they suffer some sort of mental health issue, what is their ethnicity. So I guess with identifying those differences, you develop a sense of cultural sensitivity or the things that you need to kind of like include in the way that you choose to engage with that client. But I feel like, so like I said, the way we do our assessments, it accounts for that. But whether or not all the people that's doing the work understand it,
Okay, yeah.
that's another thing, you know? I think some of the ways in which people interpret it or understand it is different. Like somebody might be spot on and they're so creative with the way that they do the work based on their understanding, then someone else might be like, okay, well, if he's disabled, I just make sure that there's disabled access whenever he comes to see me.
Right, I get
and
you
that's
mean.
it, you know.
Yeah.
Or if she's female, maybe she just has to work with a female worker rather than a male. But I think identifying these things, it goes deeper than that. And it's down to the creativity of the person that's doing the work. And in some cases, there's not enough creativity. This is not a slight on anybody.
I agree.
But creativity is a big part of why sometimes, or lack of creativity is a big part of why sometimes us as your officers and social workers, we get a bad rap.
Curtis?
Well, I'll try to be as quick as I can. I mean, I think I've got 3 points to make, but I'm going to make one. I want to help social workers and any other frontline worker learn how to meet people.
Yeah.
That's what I do now. And the work that we have to put in is so much easier if we put. The truth is, different personality types are going to struggle with meeting people. I already know there's something. I'm reading the notes. I've made a phone call. It's a struggle. You know what I mean? Because they already hate me. Do you know what I mean? And we're looking at, it's not a race thing, it's a culture thing. You know what I'm saying? But what we are introducing now, I'm going to leave it on a cliffhanger, is critical race. It's a critical race issue. It's like, sometimes we're relevant, but at the same time, a critique to that, I work mostly with white people. This is something I've heard, I'm going to leave it on this, right? They look at me up and down, parent, the white parent, and they go, you're going to work well with my son. What are they seeing?
Yeah. Cliffhanger. Yeah, no, that's good.
Hold on. No, man a cliffhanger, bro. Man that. What do you think they're seeing? No. You can't do that,
So it's
bro.
interesting because if their son is using cannabis or going out late, got girls, when they look at me, they think I'm going to work Kevin.
They see a criminal who's turned his life around.
They see a weed smoking gangster.
I'm still leaving it there.
Yeah. But
Because
listen.
I didn't, my mind didn't even go there. Funny enough. As soon as he says, like,
Yeah.
That kind of means he's smart, you know.
I just want to be clear, I don't have a problem with it. It is what it is, you know what I'm saying? But that's an interesting thing, right?
Yeah.
Right. People, thank you.
Yeah, man.
That's episode 2 of the panel. Yeah. Say thank you to the man them here.
Yeah.
Solid brothers here.
Bro, you forgot to ask the
professionals.
question. Oh, the last. You forgot to
The
ask.
last bit before we wrap up. Do you feel social care and youth offending, do we have a positive impact on the children, young people, families that we work with? Kev?
I think we do. However, I think in terms of what we provide as a service, whichever service it is, you're only as good as the staff that you have that's delivering.
Sam?
I was going to say, is this supposed to be a yes-no thing?
Yeah.
So it's yes or no, and that's it?
Yeah.
Right, bro. That's just mighty disrespectful. I don't know how to answer that one then, bro.
30 seconds.
All right, let me try and run through quick. Okay, so I think as individuals, as Kevin mentioned, creativity, a lot of us do creative work within the restrictions and confines of the role. But that being said, I think as a service and how it's aimed and how it's targeted and how it's set up, nah. Good.
Me, jump on the same back as Sam. I think individually, you can do it, but as a service, nah, there's too many gaps. Individually is good, depending on how you are as a worker, but collaboratively, nah, got to do more. Rob?
All right. I say yes and no, but there needs to be more money available for funding in order to provide more outreach services and help for the young people, not just during the daytime at school, but on the evenings, on the weekends, and in the half term.
No, only because there's just not enough case studies given to us, those who are outside the service, on what social workers and the YOS team are doing.
Curtis?
The system is great. The system is great, but there are factors such as race and stereotypes that can work for or against it.
Thank you. People, thank you for joining us on the panel. Man them brothers,